The other thing that irritates my gonads ever so slightly when I look at this is that every month T-Dubs Mob, the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries, which is a fancy way of saying the car industry's grubby lobby group, publishes a sales report, a VFACTS sales report, and distributes it to the media specifically so it can report sales, and they know it's just epic horse shit because such a big proportion of the cars are unsold.
To everyone listening, go to your Audi, BMW and Mercedes-Benz dealership and just drag them over the coals for a price.
And just say, hey, I know you've got 1,000 demonstrators out the back.
Yeah. Welcome to Auto Uncovered, where we lift up the auto industry on a hoist and have a poke around at all the dodgy bits underneath and explain what the hell's going on. How are you, John?
I'm good. I like this metaphor about, looking up from beneath and evaluating the reproductive organs of the industry.
Yes.
That should be awesome.
Yes.
Emotionally uplifting and spiritually fulfilling. All of that.
Oh, actually, who are you?
Today, I think I'll be, just for a change, John Cadogan, the automotive antichrist.
Excellent.
And you?
Adam Morris from
Right.
Redriven. I don't know where I stand on the religious side of what I do. I don't think I'm the Antichrist. I'm probably not that far.
No.
An assistant?
But you are one of the most masculine hosts ever of Redriven.
Excellent. Jim will love that. For those who don't know, on my channel, there's two of us. There's myself and our resident mechanic, Jim, who is far more masculine than I am.
I wouldn't say far more.
No, he's a real man. I'm a fictional man.
I don't think those two concepts are mutually exclusive, though, are they? I mean, he can be quite masculine without being far more masculine than you.
Okay. He can build things with his hands. I attempt it. And
that is a masculinity edge.
Yeah, it is. Hey.
Who's going first?
Can I go first real quick?
Okay.
Because mine's quick.
Yeah, do it.
Do you know who Matt Armstrong is?
Probably.
Okay, Matt Armstrong, for those that don't know, is a YouTube channel guy from the UK, and he's the guy that takes like Bugatti Veyrons and Chirons and fixes them after they've been crashed.
Oh,
or
yeah,
Ferraris.
yeah.
Fantastic channel. Highly recommend it.
It is awesome.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's like repair porn.
It is. It's fantastic. What I'm wondering about, what is the narrative that pops up more and more on his channels? For example, the Bugattis that he's doing at the moment, Chiron and Veyron, being part of the Volkswagen family, they have things like, Audi A3 airbags and a Volkswagen Passat steering pump, and all these various parts that is out of general Volkswagens.
Yeah.
And Bugatti have come in sort of going, oh, no, they're calibrated differently, which is obviously complete bullshit. It's just Volkswagen parts.
Yeah, fuck off.
My question for you is this eroding the schmanciness and the appeal of some of these high-end brands? Obviously, the Bugatti are always going to have the people that are going to spend $5 million in a car, and they don't care about these things.
Yeah.
But in terms of making it an aspirational product across that Volkswagen family, and then Ferrari, Lamborghini, all these brands, with guys like Matt Armstrong pulling back the curtain, like we do with this podcast, and going, this is a bunch of generic parts making up this car, do you think it's going to have long-term harm in terms of the long-term appeal for aspirational buyers for these cars?
Yeah, look, I think there's two factors, right? There's a broad factor across the industry, and this is why Chinese cars are evolving more rapidly than South Korean cars did when they were in that underdog challenger position, and also Japanese cars when they were in that position, right?
Yep.
It's because all technology in the automotive industry is available off the shelf. Everyone's got it. No one's got an edge. And generally, car makers don't even develop their own edgy technology. Bosch will do that, or Johnson Controls, or TRW, or businesses like that most people don't really ever hear of or think about. Like, people think Bosch is a maker of microwaves and ovens and things of that nature, or power tools or something, but they've actually got a big electronics division. They make, anti-lock brake modules and stability control black boxes and things of that nature. And then they say to car companies, how many million would you like? And shall we calibrate it for you? Kind of thing. And that just means that technology is off the shelf, right? And what that means is that a Mercedes-Benz or an Audi can no longer differentiate itself from its competition or lesser vehicles by virtue of having additional features that are just exclusive, right? you can get it in a Toyota now, dipshit. So the brand distinction is kind of artificial. The cachet is artificial. And it definitely erodes the mystery, the mystique, whatever you want to call it, of Bugatti ownership if you can get that airbag module out of an A3 and it just bolts up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I even think to the point where it's becoming more and more obvious, or more and more people are becoming aware of things like a BMW X5 is made in the US, in the United States.
Yeah,
as
but
is
how
the
about the
Mercedes
Audi
GLE.
R8 and the Lamborghini? They got same V10 engine, notionally detuned in the Audi. Like, come on.
Yeah. I'm wondering what the more premium brands are going to do, the more people realise that their Audi Q5 is made in Mexico and nowhere near Germany. But then on the flip
Even your Fiat 500 coming from frickin' Poland.
Come
on.
Yeah. Or,
It's a long way for the Amalfi Coast.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because again, I've spoken to friends, about, where cars are coming from and whatnot, Cayenne's coming out of Slovakia, or at least that's in Europe, unlike the X5 and the GLE Merc. And you can definitely see on their face, like, I'm buying a BMW X5 M. I assumed it would have been German, because that's why you buy that car. It's, the European kind of panache of it.
Yeah.
And then to find out it's made in, I don't know, Alabama or Tennessee or wherever it's out of.
Ding. For some people.
Yeah, and for a lot of people it won't matter, but I do think there is a percentage of the market that are going, hang on a sec, what am I signing up to here? Because this isn't the smoke show here is starting to fade, and I'm starting to see behind the scenes of how these things come together, and knowing that engine in that particular car is also shared in a whole bunch of other lower end models.
How about misrepresentation at the dealership? Some idiot sits in the X5, right, and starts waxing lyrical in front of the salesman about, you can really feel the German quality and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Salesman's going to go, absolutely. He's not going to go, it's actually made in Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. yeah.
Like that will never happen.
Yeah. I again, highly recommend anyone that hasn't seen the Matt Armstrong YouTube channel to check it out, because it's, looking at some of the absolute highest end of automobiles getting pulled to pieces and just seeing, they're not poorly made, but just how...
No, they are.
It's just the same generic parts that you'll find in so many other cars.
There's absolutely no doubt that a Lamborghini, for example, is not put together as well as a Corolla.
Absolutely.
It's just not.
Yeah.
They don't have the quality control. They've got all this variance all over the frickin' shop. It's poor.
Yeah.
But you're not paying for the build quality when you buy a Lambo or Ferrari or anything of that nature. Like the last Ferrari I drove was a long time ago, because supercars leave me so cold. It was a 550 Maranello, right? And it was awful. Like you couldn't get it into second gear out of first until it warmed up.
Yeah.
And the pedal position was wrong, and it was like a kit car.
Yeah.
It was like a freaking Ford Cobra replica.
Yeah.
It's like the steering.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I think it's what people have to understand, like with a Lamborghini, like there's no need for the new, Revuelto or the previous Aventador. They don't need to last 100,000 Ks, because no one's ever going to do that in them.
When I picked up that 550 Maranello, the guy who was like in charge of selling Ferraris in Australia at the time, and I was there in my best boardies and thongs, trying to make a good impression, picking up a Ferrari kind of thing. And he tells me that the average Ferrari in Australia does 2,500 Ks a year.
Yeah. Yeah, so why would you spend the extra $100 million making it last over 100,000 Ks when no one's ever going to do that?
People put them in these shrines.
Yeah.
You get these rich assholes, and they've got the lower level of their multi-story residence at Rose Bay or something it's a garage decked out like the Ferrari F1 frickin' team garage, same colour scheme, blah, blah, blah. And the car just sits there, and it's like a shrine to their excess wealth.
I think as well, it's important to understand that the cost of developing a car doesn't vary a whole lot between a Corolla or a Lamborghini. If anything, the top end, really high end hypercar stuff can probably cost less to develop because it's such a niche market. You don't have to keep a whole bunch of criteria happy. And the profit margins on high-end cars. This is why we now have...
they're astonishing.
This is why we have so many hypercars now and supercars and hardly any cars under $20,000 because it's an economy of scale thing. Why would Volkswagen Group spend $1 billion developing a new Volkswagen Up when they can just go and make 15 ultra incredibly rare Lamborghinis and charge $15 million for each of them, when the development cost, it's going to be based on the same platform as a Revuelto, just with a different body kit on it. But because it's exclusive, they can make all this extra money.
But it's a con job, right?
Yeah, totally massive con job.
The con job is that this thing is so special, right? And in some ways it is so special. Like, it's so special because hardly anyone else can afford one.
Yep.
That's the principal thing that makes it special. Yep. And yeah, it goes fast in a straight line, and you can, it'll give you no warning between in control and out of control around the corner, and you can back it off the track at high speed and then, feel like an idiot because you just trashed $1 million car.
Yeah.
That's what makes it special.
And also, we're getting to this point, obviously, that all those cars, I feel like it's weird, while I'm kind of, throwing shade at them, at the same time, I think we need the rock star cars. We need the crazy stuff because it just keeps things interesting.
Yeah.
But we're also at a point where, like, this new Lamborghini Temerario,
that one,
that's doing a quarter mile, I think, in low 9s or maybe even high 8s. I'm sorry. Like, that should require some FIA super license before you can get behind the wheel of a car that can do a 9-second quarter mile. That is insane.
Every HQ Monaro that can do a 9-second quarter mile should be immediately defected.
Yeah, it has a parachute on the back.
Yeah. You could probably get it. If it had wings, you'd probably get it off the deck of a carrier.
Yeah.
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 Probably wouldn't fly that well ultimately, but it'd probably go a fair way. Like,
yeah. But again, it seems to be, it's another car that seems to be leaving a lot of people cold, and that's where we have this resto mod world where the cars aren't anywhere near as fast, but they're, again, getting people at the heartstrings because it's, a classic old Subaru that's had everything done to it, or an old 911 or an old Alfa Romeo.
At the risk of being the old guy who shouts at the sky, right? I don't think a Ferrari today is as aspirational as a Dino was in the 70s.
I completely agree.
Right?
Yeah. I think
or a 911, same thing.
Yeah.
911 is like, they've always been a halo car, and they've been like a benchmark, like a point of constancy. There's always been a 911 for as long as I was enthusiastic about cars. We've always had them. So that's cool, but I don't want a current 911 as much as I'd like Steve McQueen one.
Absolutely.
Come on.
We shot a video recently with the boys at Auto House Hamilton in Chatswood, who are a Porsche specialist, and like they've got clients that have got the latest GT3 RS and all the latest Porsches, and a lot of those clients are getting out of those cars and then getting back into a mid 2000s 911 because they're now saying these new ones are so insanely quick and so incredibly capable. You never really get near the edge unless you go to a track. And even then you need some serious talent. Whereas a 996 or a 997, these like mid-2000s, early 20-teens cars.
You had some hope.
Yeah, and they're small, so you can park them easily.
Yeah.
But they're still practical. They've got a decent amount of safety features without, a stack of ADAS screaming at you all the time.
The last GT3 I drove, this is a long time ago too, right? Because Motor Magazine still existed. We were doing a performance handling test thing, and it was kind of the performance handling halo. And it was a long time ago. I know that too because Oran Park still existed because we were there.
It wasn't a suburb.
And yeah, that's right. It wasn't just AV Jennings Display Village. And so anyway, at the end of day one of this handling test, because I was running the test, I go, I'm taking the GT3 home. And it was it was terrible because 60 Ks was the limit for most of that drive, and you're driving with the speedo, it's way down. It's only just come off the stop, and you're looking at 360 over here. But the difference between 50 and lose your license was minimal over here, and tram lined on everything. And it was just appalling to drive home in the way that it wasn't appalling to get on the brakes at high speed at the end of the straight.
Yeah.
Like, it was really optimized for that, and really shit for the kind of driving that your rich arsehole would do typically from double bay to the CBD to go and, execute whatever transactions on the stock market or something,
I'm intrigued. I think I'm keen to try a new 911 just to see, like, is it still the everyday sports car. But also, I think, back to the original question, I think Porsche haven't hidden their association with Volkswagen. There's almost no attempt to hide their association with Volkswagen. So I think if you find Volkswagen parts in your 911, it's to be expected.
Yeah.
But Lamborghini and those next echelon up, I think that the aspiration is starting to erode for a lot of people going, oh, hang on a sec, this Lamborghini's got Volkswagen parts in it. This is terrible. Like when you're paying that much money, you should have no Volkswagen parts. It should be all Lamborghini.
Yeah, I get that. The brands are all being run by accountants, and accountants don't understand the mystique.
No.
Like they don't acknowledge that there's anything intangible about the brand. And the people marketing them are all about just convincing the right person that this is the best car ever. They don't have any sort of long-term stewardship in mind. They don't go, you know what, it took 30 years to get the 911 where it is today, or longer than that, probably 50 years now. Yeah. So there's all these cars with all this time invested into them, and the car makers themselves don't attribute any value to that time and effort that got them there. It's all like, well, what can we do now?
Yeah.
How can we make this cheaper? How can we increase our margin? How can we convince this rich asshole over here that this is the car for him?
Yeah.
Rather than actually taking care of the brand.
Beautifully answered. What, your turn? What do we got? Hit me.
It was a normal day for me just the other day. I was skipping through this field of butterflies, singing my favourite tunes like I Want to Break Free. And,
great song.
I was on my way to the YMCA because it's fun to stay there where I could play some music because you can't stop the music kind of thing.
Yep.
And it was an otherwise idyllic day. And then I stubbed my fucking toe on something. Some asshole left some refuse in the middle of this field of butterflies that I was skipping through.
Right.
I thought, you cock.
Yeah.
So I had to reach down and take care of that for the next, passerby on the way to the YMCA. And it was this 2 sheets of A3 paper that just happened to contain a whole bunch of confidential information about the breakdown of all of the sales of car makers that the Federal Chamber and the car makers themselves don't want to reveal. And I thought, wouldn't this be useful for 2 chaps who had a fledgling podcast, because they could tell the public some really interesting information that car makers don't want the public to know.
Should I call my lawyer before we go?
No, because confidentiality exists only. You should know this as a journalist, right?
Oh, that's being optimistic.
Confidentiality only exists if you enter into a contract.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if I enter into a contract with TDub, which I would never do, about keeping some information confidential, and then I blab, I'm committing breach of contract.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. But you stubbed your toe on this.
It was just lying there.
These 2 bits of A3 paper.
It was lying there.
There you go.
And I thought,
we really should communicate. For a public service, if you're going to stub your toe on something in a park full of butterflies, we need to inform people of what you've stubbed your toe on.
I was hoping it was the nuclear launch codes, having read that book that you lent me.
This could be more dangerous.
However, what we've got here is the really interesting thing, okay?
For those listening, I'm now looking at one hell of a spreadsheet. Across the top, we have a bunch of car manufacturers.
You can see why I stubbed my toe. It's a big piece of paper.
Big piece of paper.
It's like A3.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's for a two-dimensional thing. It's very 3D.
Right. So down the bottom here
Yep.
is the thing that you want to concentrate on. This number here is the proportion of the sales for different car makers that are demonstrators, because demonstrators are the great rort of sales reporting.
Yes.
Right? Demonstrators are what you do, because the car industry doesn't actually track sales, right? It tracks registrations.
Yep.
The difference between a demonstrator and a car that you might buy from a dealer is that the demonstrator is first registered to the dealer or the car maker.
Sure.
Right? And if you have a little look here at the premium brands, Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz.
God.
What do you notice
Oh my
with your good
me.
eyesight that means you can resolve those numbers without glasses?
John, can I I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here.
This is 2025. That's 2024. So you can evaluate consistency as well.
Okay. So for everyone listening, let's start with Audi. So it says on this piece of paper, this confidential thing you bumped your toe on, that 40.2% of sales are actually demonstrators.
That was for all of 2025, and down here for 2024, 42%. And so far this year, it's not looking substantially different, is it?
Basically 43%.
Yeah. Okay, so that's...
So what we're saying...
So here's the big picture with that, right? If you're a factory and you make this high capital cost product in a mass production environment, you've got to sell it, okay, at the end of the day, because it costs you so much to put together. You've got to buy all the steel and all the glass and the paint, the plastics and the boxes of electronics, and you have to pay to get it assembled. And those 3 fucking 500-ton press lines that turn hard coil into panels that run continuously, they're not cheap either. No. And neither are the dies that they stamp them on, right? Like, we're just burning money before. And you're at the end of this production process because you're sitting in the dealership throwing money over a counter at a salesman, right? Yep. If you're in that environment, you've got to sell cars. You have to sell them at any cost. In fact, you're better off selling them at cost than not selling them, right? So what you can see with demonstrators is how desperate is the factory, because I'd suggest that anything over the industry average of whatever it is, about 16% or something, anything over that is you've got a confluence of dealer desperation and car maker desperation. Of course, that egotistical fuckwit who sits at the top of a local car company, you know, he's got to go on a conference. He can be a tyrant internally, but he's got to go on a conference call once a week and once a month and talk about the sales back to the boys upstairs overseas, right? So he has to sell cars.
Yeah.
And if you can't sell them, you might as well just register them and flog your dealers and force them to take them.
Wow.
And I'd suggest that any number greater than about 25, 28, that's desperation. That's the smell. That's Chanel anus, right? It's the smell of desperation.
So you got to think, so of all the cars sold, a quarter sold in big inverted commas, a quarter of them haven't actually been sold to consumers.
They're not sold.
They're not sold. They're actually just demo models.
They're registered.
A quarter of the sales.
More than that. These 40%.
Let's go through. So Audi is around the 40 to 44% mark. This is over the last. This is from 20. Let's go from 2020.
Well, let's do the last full year, right? Okay, we'll do 2025, which is over here somewhere.
Here we go.
It's this one. Right?
So Audi 40%.
And we'll do the premiums.
Okay, so Audi 40.2%, BMW 32.7%, Mercedes-Benz 29.4%.
That's like heaps, right?
Volkswagen 37.4%.
I know, it's Audi and Volkswagen. They're just trying a little bit hard to, or failing to sell cars, and then trying a little bit hard to make it look like they're selling cars. Come on.
40%. Yeah. 40% of the cars that, not sold, 40% are just demonstrators.
Back in mainstreamsville, have a little look at Ford and Nissan.
Okay, Ford we have 21% and Nissan 21.7%.
That's desperation too in mainstream land. Like, compare that with like Hyundai and Kia.
Okay, Hyundai 13.5 and Kia 18.2.
And look at Mazda.
Where's Mazda? 18.4. But then have a look at the Chinese brands. BYD, 6.5. Chery, 8.1. GWM, 13.9. Okay. Hey, Subaru, 6.1. Toyota, 5.3.
Toyota's a bit funny though, because they've had the whole RAV4 shortage issue. They're having an anomalous period at the moment where they just haven't got stock.
Yeah, exactly.
And RAV4 is probably their top seller.
Yeah,
I think.
Has to be. That 40.2%. So we're pushing up to half of the sales, in inverted commas, are actually demos.
Yeah. Well, registration. So look at private. We got private here somewhere.
Yeah, private there. Private local delivery.
Yeah, but there's no overseas delivery. That's bugger all.
So Audi is 6,000 578 cars. So what we're saying is 40.2% of that.
Well, not 40.2% of that. That's just you can't count the cars twice, right? But
Sure.
if you look at dealer demonstrator here,
Yep.
you've got 6,000. Is that 6,000?
6,171.
And then you've got private is 6,500 or something.
Yeah, 6,578.
Yeah. Okay. So the number of demonstrators is nearly the same as the number of actual sales to punters.
They're both in the 6,000s.
Yeah.
Wow.
It kind of says to me that if you are actually there and you're buying a brand new one, you're a bit of a goose, aren't you? Because they've got the same number of whatever the stock they've got is to sell to you, unregistered, brand new. They've got the same amount of stock out the back notionally as a demonstrator, but really just been sitting there to cook the books so that the tyrant in charge, no, I'm not talking about Audi specifically, I'm just talking about generally the tyrant at the top of the local operation can get back on the phone to the boys upstairs and say, no, she's all good. This is like people think sales reporting is sales reporting, but it's not in Australia. It's this shell game of freaking demonstrators. And when you look at some other, like have a look at Nissan's dealer demonstrator column here. There's how many?
6,548.
All right. So have a look at private local delivery.
18,202.
So what that means is that there's 18,000 people out there buying brand new Nissans, but at the same time, in the same month, they registered 6,000 of them just as demonstrators. Now, obviously, some of those cars, there'd be a car in every model category at every dealership so that people can take it for a test drive. And obviously, the executive team here and there have company cars and they're legitimate demonstrators.
Yes.
But you can't tell me that a brand like Nissan needs 6,000 demonstrators or whatever it is there
6,500. Yeah.
every month.
Yeah.
That
is insane.
Sorry, these are annual figures, but you can't tell me that they need 6,000 a year. Like you've got to be kidding.
I've got a couple of mates that have just bought BMWs recently, and they got some insane discounts, like crazy discounts, tens of thousands of dollars. And you can see why. When these companies are so desperate that they're willing to go, just please take the car, please take the car.
But the other thing that irritates my gonads ever so slightly when I look at this is that every month T-Dubs Mob, the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries, which is a fancy way of saying the car industry's grubby lobby group, publishes a sales report, a VFACTS sales report, and distributes it to the media specifically so it can report sales, and they know it's just epic horse shit.
Wow.
Because such a big proportion of the cars are unsold. They're not sold. They're just registered sitting out the back. Come on.
Not a great way to run a business, is it? Like if you have a store that sells shoes and Nike are like, you guys need to sell this many shoes and we've got our really high-end made in America ones, right?
Yeah.
And as a store, you go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to say we sold half the stock. We're just going to keep them out the back.
We're going to put barcodes on them.
Yeah. We'll just say they've sold. Put them through the register.
Because we're not going to track sales. We're going to track barcode application.
Exactly.
Right?
And we'll sell, a few thousand will sell.
Yeah, someone.
But the ones out the back. So what well, I suppose no one knows, unless you work in the industry, what happens to these demos once they get to a point of them being replaced? Like the new model comes out. Once
they have a fire sale. That's what a run out sale is. It's like, holy shit, Batman, we've got all this stock out the back. What do we do with it? I mean, the other sort of thing that happens is, remember MG had a big deal about selling big discount on MG4s a year ago-ish?
Yep.
That's just because those clowns kept ordering MG4s from the factory and they didn't bother selling them.
Yeah.
Right? They had thousands out the back. And you get to a point where the factory says, would you mind manning up and just sending us a check for those 4,000 MG4s? And then the the boss, hypothetically, not in the case necessarily of MG specifically, but then the boss has a tantrum and gets the sales manager and says, you've got to do something about these cars that are just sitting there. This is what I pay you to do. And the sales manager's thinking, those cars that you ordered that I told you I couldn't sell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This happens all the time. Car makers have these. Whenever you see a massive drop, it's that.
Yeah.
Right? But the demonstrator thing is a fucking scam, and you can see just how big a deal it is. Like Audi sales are shit anyway. And when you look at the demonstrators, the proportion of demonstrators, which is like 42% or 40-something percent, that just tells me that the factory needs to move the cars. And this is the only way that our operation in Australia, Audi Australia, can actually shift that metal.
I think as well,
Right?
it's probably very, very important to also be within that VFAX report to show that people are buying the Audi, because I think it's a thing. It's like if you go past a cafe that's got a lineup, well, you go, oh, well, this must be amazing. I better line up and get something, right?
There were two cafes next to each other, no line at one and a line over the horizon at the other.
You'll probably line up in the line.
Absolutely.
And it's the same with the car companies. If you're not on the VFAX and the word on the street is, oh yeah, Audi aren't selling any cars, that's terrible for Audi, because it's even more encouragement to not buy their car. Because why, if no one's buying it?
Yeah.
You know, I often wonder, like, how many people are buying Toyotas because people are buying Toyotas. You know, they're generally under-spec'd versus the competition.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's reliability and support network, all the good stuff. But, you know, you look at a current 300 series GXL, doesn't even have 360-degree cameras for $110,000, whatever it is. It's insane. But they can't get enough stock because people buy Toyotas.
They're the king of mediocrity.
Exactly.
Toyota.
Whereas with Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, they need to be seen in that high-selling group to kind of bolster the image of those brands. Hence, 40% of Audis are demos.
Why would you pay the full freight?
You don't. To everyone listening, go to your Audi, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz dealership and just drag them over the coals for a price.
And just say, hey, I know
desperate.
you've got 1,000 demonstrators out the back.
Yeah. We know, I can't say because I don't have the actual evidence like this, but we know of plenty of new cars that they've over-ordered that are sitting in warehouses gathering dust, that they're desperate to get rid of, that they are doing crazy, crazy deals on just to get those cars out. They're probably losing money on those cars, but at least they're getting sales through.
You want to know something else hilarious about this act of littering, right? I find this really hilarious. Like, because I'm such a ace investigative sleuth, basically.
Yes.
I thought, I've got to get to the bottom of who the fuck is actually doing this.
Who dropped it? Who dropped this piece of paper on the ground?
Because they don't do it once, do they? Like bank robbers.
Yeah.
You don't rob a bank once.
Yeah.
Because
fly tippers, aren't they? Fly tippers, and they're renowned for dropping crap everywhere.
every time, right? So I did make some efforts to track this person down, and he might have, or she might have said to me that this is not the first act of littering like this that this person has done, right? But the salient differences between this act of littering and other acts of littering is that the other victims of this act of littering at other locations haven't had the gonads to disclose the information for fear of retribution.
I see.
Right?
Lovely.
So I'm hoping that frown goes upside down with this episode, because there will just be immense gnashing of teeth. There will be a meeting at the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries about how could we have let this happen.
Yeah.
The other thing about all of these numbers here that you see, all these different categories, just run them through.
So the categories we have are business and overseas delivery, company capitalisation, dealer demonstrator, diplomatic, federal government, fleet, insurance write-off, large fleet, local government, not-for-profit organisations, private locally delivered, private overseas delivered, rentals, state government and taxis.
It's pretty granular, right? And it's not generally disclosed to the public. The other interesting thing about all of this is, you know how this granularity is reported?
Yes.
It's a fucking honour system.
Oh, wow.
We're relying on car makers to report it honestly. And if you knew the car industry, you'd know how hilarious that is.
Wow.
So this is all just, I swear on Almighty God.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of the car industry, they did their honesty course that was hosted by drug cartels in Mexico.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, the Medellin cartel.
Yeah, wow.
So I
Mate,
just thought you might find that interesting. I had never seen in all of my, 38,000 years of doing this, I'd never seen a report on sales quite this granular. And I thought, how could somebody just
Leave it there.
hurl it in this beautiful butterfly-strewn field that I was skipping through at the time? And
Mate, thank you for bringing that up.
what a coincidence.
Amazing. If you've got any thoughts on that sales report, please comment.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Whatever platform you're watching this on.
Now, speaking of audience interaction, I think it'd be an excellent time to answer a few questions. And if you've got any questions, why don't you email us at questions@autouncovered.com.au. That's questions@autouncovered.com.au. I'll do it again if he's still scrolling. That's questions at autoexpert or autouncovered.com.au. Whatever it was, one of those.
Don't put your own bloody YouTube channel on our podcast.
Sorry, I couldn't.
Bastard. While you're there, go and subscribe to Redriven, everybody.
Yeah. The two most masculine hosts of Redriven will be back at it anytime soon.
Okay, first question. Actually, a loyal Redriven audience member.
A vivid fan.
I would dare say our most loyal, and we love this guy. This is Luke. Do you think that companies that make EVs should be made to take responsibility for recycling the batteries and e-waste from EVs when it becomes damaged or reaches the end of its life cycle, or at least be made to help fund businesses to do that within Australia? There's a reason we love Luke. It's because he's a very intelligent young man.
That's not a bad question.
That's a great question.
It's a very detailed, deep question as well, like to cover it. Superficially, yes. Yes, Luke. Good question, mate. But there's no imperative to recycle anything as far as I can tell.
We did a bit of looking into this a little while ago, granted, and let's say with the Tesla, like 98% of the batteries can be recycled in a Tesla. Nobody does, but because it's just not financially viable to do that.
But just back up from the batteries, right? Like the correct answer to recycling is always technically. Technically, yeah. Like, can you recycle the plastics in a car? Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you recycle the steel? Yeah. Technically, yeah. Is it worthwhile? No. Does it happen? No. Like, recycling is bullshit. Okay, it is. The problem with batteries in particular is the toxicity of the products, right? And as usual, what our regulatory apparatus has done, and this is the case overseas as well as here, so we're not uniquely fucked up, but the whole Western world is fucked up when it comes to imposing a chain of custody on things like batteries. There's already a massive e-waste problem with batteries. You know, you've got your torch and you've got your phone and you've got your iPad and your laptop, and you dispose of them every few years.
Every device. And
the total amount of that waste is ridiculous, and it's only going to become an orders of magnitude worse when cars start getting recycled because the batteries are just so much bigger. And what is essentially happening is that they're trying to pretend that because the batteries are recyclable, that they'll be recycled. They're different things. It's just, if batteries were so valuable, if the cobalt and the manganese in lithium-ion batteries, like power tool batteries and laptop batteries, it was fucking valuable, people would be queuing up to take them. They'd be paying you. There'd be a little man in a van who came around and, took those batteries off your hands because cobalt, manganese, so valuable. The fact is, it's hard to recycle batteries, like it's hard to recycle plastic.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. That's why it doesn't happen, and that's why we need regulation. Otherwise, we just end up with Erin Brockovich again in the groundwater, only this time it's not hexavalent chromium.
I think Luke's raising a really good point, because I think obviously the narrative around EVs, and again, we're not pro or anti-EV, they're great for some people and not for others, but the worry here is, because the battery tech is improving so quickly, and the tech within the car is improving and moving forward so fast, old models will become obsolete or financially obsolete in the not too distant future. So then what happens to that car?
Which battery technology is evolving so quickly?
Oh, well, I mean more in terms of the way the car's being promoted to consumers, that, oh, hey, this charging is going to be faster soon, and there's this, because we're seeing it with people snapping up new EVs. The new EV sales, they're not massive as they were a few months ago during the fuel crisis, in inverted commas.
But the technology is not evolving. It's just the cars are kind of evolving a bit. They're getting a bit better, but the fundamental battery technology hasn't changed.
No. Is there anything on the horizon that there's what's the super fast charging with the BYD? That's not happening here because we don't have the infrastructure to support the charging.
Well, super fast charging is great if you want to kill the batteries quickly.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get around that. It's a nice publicity stunt. But where's the megawatt charger?
Yeah.
And everything about that stunt was a scam. Like, yes, they charged the battery very quickly, but they said recharged as quickly as petrol in 5 minutes. It was like 70% of a charge in 5 minutes. Yeah. And they used the Chinese standard, so they used Chinese kilometres, which are even worse than the standards that approximate the range currently, the WLT P1 and the other one. So, they really cooked the books to the extent that they could around that fast charging. And it's impractical anyway, because in the servo of the future, where are we going to get 10 quote-unquote Bowsers with 1 megawatt capacity each? Like, it's not going to happen.
No.
Like, just ring up the local grid authority and say, hey, 10 megawatt installation just down on the corner there, how much?
Yeah.
You just hear laughing.
Yeah.
And then I hang up.
Yeah. It's getting scary. I think we're filming a Hyundai Ioniq 5 tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
The used pricing currently kicks off from about $35,000.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That was a $78,000 car.
And it's a fun thing to like. It's a good thing. I'm not even talking about the end. It's just a nice thing to drive. It's as big as a freaking Land Cruiser.
It's a fantastic car, and it's for $35,000. That is so much car for the money, right?
As long as the battery doesn't die.
Yes. That's
why it's $35,000.
That's a whole story. But that's going to keep depreciating, because the depreciation rate on EVs is steeper through the entire life cycle of the car compared to an internal combustion car, especially a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. So you're going to get to a point where that Ioniq 5, $35,000 in a few years is going to be far, far less, to the point where it's just not financially viable to own anymore. So the car therefore goes to the scrap heap.
Or I guess you could buy two.
Yeah, but then we get back to Luke's question of once that car is no longer fit for road use because of the finances around it.
Who's responsible
for it? And the more EVs we have, as he suggests, what are we going to do with all this e-waste when we have so much waste around phones and devices already?
Yeah, okay. So when you look, harking back to plastics, and I know Luke wasn't talking about plastics, but plastics are easier to handle than batteries, right?
Yeah.
And plastic recycling became a big thing. Okay, plastic is essentially a waste product of the petrochemical industry. Typically, the feedstock is ethane, which is like natural gas is methane. Ethane is the next most complex one on a continuum of carbon chemistry complexity that goes up to octane and nonane and decane, and you get to diesel and all of that, right? Sure. So we're using the second simplest hydrocarbon, which is really just a waste product that typically got flared off, like burnt off.
Yeah.
And we make plastics with it, okay? And the plastic waste became a thing in, I'm going to say, the 70s. And they made those codes, those little triangular codes?
Yeah.
Right? Recycling symbols.
Yeah. We've discussed this before.
Yeah, they're not recycling symbols, though. They're polymer identification codes designed to look like the recycling symbol, right?
Yeah.
That's just that. It shows you how if you left the free market to deal with it, they'd come up with a whole lexicon of recycling initiatives around batteries that did everything except recycle the fucking things. Because that's what happens with the plastics in cars and the plastics that you put in your yellow bin. Often the recycling involves putting them in bales and sending them to, I don't know, Indonesia or something to be burnt as fuel. Right? That's what plastic recycling is. Yeah. And that's easier than battery recycling. If you think it's a good idea to mulch up old batteries and hope to extract a little bit of cobalt and manganese, I don't want to live next to that factory.
Yeah. Is this ever going to change? Are we ever going to get to a point, or are the
No.
lobby groups so powerful now that they would rather ignore this aspect of e-waste and just go, no, just keep buying EVs because they're so invested in it? Or are we going to have someone going, hang on a sec, what's going on with all these old batteries out of these cars? Where is this stuff going?
Ultimately, the consumer is going to pay for the recycling. Like to Luke's point about should car makers be responsible? Yeah, they should. And the Makita and DeWalt and Ryobi and Milwaukee should be responsible for the disposal of their batteries. And, Samsung and Apple should be likewise responsible. But all of those manufacturers would, if there was a rock-solid recycling mandate that meant they couldn't sidestep it in any way, then they would figure out how much that costs and they'd pass it on to you. Yeah. And no one would want to wear it.
Yeah.
And then people would say, but in America, you can have a same electric car for a third of the price kind of thing. And, the Albert could sit there and say, yeah, but recycling, and that adds that.
And then you've also got, a huge, I don't know the percentage, but a huge percentage of EVs that we're driving in Australia are from China. And the Chinese government generally aren't that litigious when it comes to sticking to some of those rules and trying to convince GWM or BYD that they now need to find a way to recycle those batteries to make it better for the environment. I can't see that happening anytime soon.
I don't know how you'd enforce it because, we've got consumer law in Australia, and consumer law is actually really well thought out, and the architecture is pretty strong, and they just don't fucking bother enforcing it. Yeah. So that might as well not exist in many cases. Like if you buy a Mercedes-Benz or something of that nature, consumer law tends to be optional. They make you feel like, no, mate, that's just for toasters. Yeah. And that's a simple law. Yeah. Recycling is quite complex. Who is going to enforce it?
Yeah. And not only that, it's such how long is a piece of string, because what is regarded as properly recycling? If you recycle 1% of that battery, in theory, you're recycling it.
Yeah, we're just going to take the aluminium box off the outside and recycle that and chuck the rest away because it's too hard.
Yeah, the Phillips head screws that hold it together, we'll recycle those.
Or is sending it to Indonesia where it can poison some fishing village, is that recycling? Yeah. A disposal offshore is typically where a country's responsibility ends. That's why I can send plastic to somewhere to be burnt as fuel and probably have that qualify as a recycling initiative because the plastic came out of someone's yellow bin. The thing is, consumers are already doing better than governments at recycling because I got 3 bins out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I know it was a long time ago. We had a brontosaurus in the carport.
Everything was black and white.
Yeah. There was definitely black and white, but there was one bin.
Yeah. Yeah.
All your shit went in the bin. You had an incinerator in the backyard. Can you imagine incinerating the grass clippings today?
Oh, my God. Yeah, wow. Or just incinerating that old car, the old EV car battery.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Luke, not happening. It should. 100% it should.
Nice idea, but
not going to happen, which is that's terrifying for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
It's Aaron Brockovich, dude, because lithium hexafluorophosphate, I don't want that in my coffee.
No.
I do have another.
This is from Tim. Can you please explain to me how in 2026 many utes still retain rear drum brakes?
They're farm trucks.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Your $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 Ranger or Hilux. It's just a farm truck. As far as the manufacturer is concerned, why would you bother engineering disc brakes when you can get away with not?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. It's almost what we referred to before with manufacturing and selling a car. It is a business, so they're going to try to do the least amount of financial work to get the maximum amount of profit, and that's one of the big reasons that if you look in the US why pickup trucks are so huge over there. It's because they're regarded as a commercial vehicle, which means they can avoid a lot of the tax situations. They can avoid some safety stuff. They can avoid a whole bunch of emissions laws because it's a commercial vehicle. And also the manufacturers make so much profit off a pickup truck versus something like a Corolla or a small car. So with the reason drum brakes, they're cheap. Why would you bother putting disc brakes on when that's going to cost a little bit more to put on the car, which is going to eat into your profit margins? So everything on a lot of these vehicles is as cheap as it possibly can be because it needs to make as much profit as possible.
Well, why would you put disc brakes on a ute that was engineered for fleets and farms and mines, right? Yeah, it's easier to get away with having drum brakes on the elite model than it is with having more expensive brakes on the shitbox models that go to actual working utes that don't need the rear disc. So you just have to suck that up. But I get it from the point of view of a suit in a ute or the elite ute user. It would be preferential to have disc brakes at the rear, but that's like saying, in an ideal world, we'd have disc brake rear on all utes and we'd have recycling sorted out and we'd have all of that shit. It'd be all hunky-dory, dude, because it sounds so simple. It rolls off the tongue.
I think it also gives the guys on the sales floor something to entice you up to the next higher model. So you can go, okay, you can buy this particular ute at this price, but hey, for an extra $8,000, you can get black trim, rear disc brakes, and wireless Apple CarPlay.
But
and so you go,
is
okay.
anyone doing that with the disc brakes?
Yeah. Like Ford Ranger. What else? There's a few where if you go up the food chain, you get discs on the rear versus the drums. There's a few.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I think it's sales, just a way to entice you to spend more. So it's like when you buy a laptop and you go, okay, this laptop, these specs are great. Yeah, but you know what? For an extra $200, you can get a 1.5 terabyte hard drive. The 500, chuck that in.
Is Toyota doing it? I'd be surprised.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
I mean, I'm happy to be surprised if they are, but I'd be very surprised. Like the utes tend to lag all other vehicles in terms of R&D sophistication.
Yeah.
And Toyota tends to lag all other brands in terms of R&D sophistication because they're at the top. They can get away with doing less.
Yeah. I think they're also incredibly conservative. So rather than just throwing the latest, greatest new thing at a car, they generally wait until a lot of the bugs are sorted out. That's what we find with the infotainment
I think
systems.
the bugs have been sorted out with disc brakes. For
yeah. Good point. Very good point. Yeah. The what? Disc brakes? What?
Disc? You want us to do what?
Yeah.
Are they sorted out? Then maybe they're not right.
Who knows? Yeah, just wait.
Wait until we get them right.
If you have any more questions at autouncovered.com.au.
Do it. Be part of the show because the banality of what we talk about, skipping through the butterflies. Jesus, who needs more of that? More questions from you. Come on, questions at autouncovered.com.au. Have we done it?
I think so. In the meantime, hit that like, subscribe button, share this with your mates, all that kind of stuff. It helps us out so much.
Or dislike if you did, and then go and subscribe to Paul Marrick.